fuck. Yes, it's another shitty podcast. 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 Yes, it's another shitty
Hello
podcast.
and welcome to the 11th episode of the second season of YASP, short for yet another shitty podcast. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Ali. Hello, Ali.
Hello. Introduce yourself first.
Oh, yeah. It's been a long time. My name is Amir Reza, by the way. If you didn't know, you should definitely check out the previous episodes and season that we've had. We're joined here today by a recurring guest, Mohammad. Hello, Mohammad.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here again.
Thanks for honoring us with your presence here. And I'm not joking.
Honor's mine.
Before we start talking about what we're gonna talk about, as maybe a few of you noticed, I'm not expecting a lot of people to have cared enough. As some of you may have noticed, we had a bit of a hiatus. This episode should have been released months ago. And the reason for that was a combination of a series of events, some most of which personal, to be fair, and most of which because of me.
A series of unfortunate events.
Yeah. But we're back. Oh, yeah.
And if you want, we can talk about that TV show on our next season.
I don't think we should. But yeah,
Why?
anyways, because I haven't watched it, and I'm not gonna. How many seasons is it?
I think 3 or 4.
Okay, I might look into it.
You will.
Not sure though.
Good. I'm gonna make you watch Succession. This is nothing.
Are you sure you're gonna be successful in making me watch that?
Yep.
Okay. Anyways,
Yeah.
we and specifically I apologize for the hiatus and the time that we've been absent from you guys. We hope you didn't forget about us, and we hope that we're going to continue doing this. There's going to be a third season, and this season, this is the penultimate episode. We're going to have a season wrap-up episode where we talk about basically every episode that we've talked about and try to follow up on what happened with some of them. If there are any updates or if there are any revisions in our view of those things. So stay tuned for that as well. All this being said, let's cut to the chase. We are going to talk about this series Saints Row, video game series Saints Row today.
If you remember, and if you don't remember, you should go and re-listen. In our GTA episode, our GTA 2-parter, which was it was kind of a magnum opus, I think. It was so long.
Yeah.
But in that, we sort of talked about GTA clones, and one of them, that was the most prominent one, was Saints Row. And so we decided to get Saints Row its own episode, separate episode, because I think it at some point managed to diverge enough to not be just a quote-unquote GTA clone.
Yeah. We I like the first two. I would call them GTA clones, but let's not dive into that yet. So far, we have had
5.
Okay.
Saints
5 or maybe 6 if you consider the standalone DLC Get Out of Hell, because it was released as a separate disc for
Well, yeah, but it's an add-on. Like, do you consider Burial at Sea like a standard, like a new game for Bioshock?
I mean, the difference is again, Very Let's See is like DLC. Like it was, downloadable, but Get Out of Hell was standalone. So I don't know. To
Oh,
each their own, I guess.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, we called the GTA ones, the Ballad of Gay Tony and all of that a separate stuff.
Yeah, I mean they were also released separately, at least
Yeah,
here in Iran, because like we couldn't access DLCs at the time and stuff like that.
yeah,
yep,
Yeah.
yeah. God bless piracy, by the way.
yes. Have we insulted the French yet?
Are we gonna do that again?
Dude, that's
He,
like
he really like
Okay, okay.
okay.
Go ahead and insult the French.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not coming up with any creative insults. Let's move along, and if I think of something, I'll insert it in.
Okay, okay. So where do we start? On the
Well,
subject of Saints Row, do we start with the developer, the history? Because
well, why
I
not?
don't know.
Yeah, let's start with that.
Yeah, okay, then do it.
Well, I don't know anything about the developer because, to be honest, my first interaction with Saints Row wasn't even the first Saints Row game. It was Saints Row 4.
Hmm. The first Saints Row you played was Saints Row 4? Seriously?
Yeah.
How about you, Mohammad?
I did play them in order. I started with the first one, and I went through each and every one of them. I've played them all. I haven't
Yeah.
finished them all, but I
Oh,
can say I'm kind of an expert, I guess. I don't know.
You haven't finished any of them?
I have finished some of them, but not all of them. Like I haven't finished Get Out of Hell. I didn't finish 3, which I'm gonna get to the reasons why. And
why?
I haven't finished Agents of Mayhem either because that game was just
Oh,
shit.
yeah. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I haven't finished Agents of Mayhem either. I
Yeah.
barely played Agents of Mayhem. And fun fact, I don't think I knew if we had a Agents of Mayhem until like 10 minutes
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, I didn't. Like, if I'm gonna like download that game and finish it anyways because I'm a big fan of Saints Row.
Oh
So,
my god, this is gonna be
yeah.
so heartbreaking. Like,
No,
incredibly
like I
heartbreaking.
don't think it's gonna be as bad as you make it out to be.
Well,
It's not bad. It's just so generic and bland. Like it's so nothing.
yeah.
Anyways, let's start with a bit of history. I'm just like literally looking up their Wikipedia page right now. So Volition, as we know it today, was created as Parallax Software Corporation 1993 to 1996. 1996 onwards, they renamed it to Volition. The games they have produced are Descent series, Free Space series,
Oh,
Summoner series. I think from here on, the next ones are the famous ones: Red Faction and
yeah.
Saints Row. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So they've also, from 2000 to 2013, they were a subsidiary of THQ. After some of you
THQ
know,
Nordic?
yeah, no, back then it
Mm.
was just simply
No, not
THQ.
THQ because
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
yeah, but THQ went down and THQ Nordic was created. 2013 onwards, it's been Deep Silver. So, yeah.
I THQ had Gothic, right?
THQ had mini games. I don't even know. Like back in the day, THQ was one of those names that you would see frequently on your screen if you're a video gamer. Like,
Nice.
especially the PS2 era. Like THQ was one of those names that like was engraved on my brain, like the logo and the sound and all that. But unfortunately, they were met with a unfortunate
Demise.
demise. Yeah.
A series
Oh,
of
they've also
unfortunate events.
yeah, they've also made a Punisher movie. It's not a movie, sorry, Punisher game. I don't know if you guys remember, but like the
I
first
played it
Punisher
a couple
video
years
game.
ago. It's an excellent. I mean, it's not excellent, but it's really quite
Yeah,
good.
like it was one of those games that like sent shockwaves to the like comic book fans because it was one of the more decent video game adaptations of like comic books and movies back then.
I mean, it
Like,
was better than Superman 64. I doubt it.
I doubt it. Yeah.
That's
It's a debate to be had if you want to have it, but and the thing is, considering it was real violent, it was one of those games that people pointed at, like Manhunt and GTA and stuff, and were like, "Yeah, games are violent and makes your kids violent and stuff like that." So
like post.
there are multiple reasons for that game. Yeah, it was heavily censored in the console version. So, for example, PS2 and stuff. So in Punisher, there are things called torture kills or something like that. Like Punisher goes on and kills people in the most horrific way possible, and so they censored that. Like it literally blurs the screen when he's trying to do it in the
Try to
console
do something
versions. As
ultra violent, suddenly the screen goes blurry. But speaking of torture, I realized, you know who I want to torture?
The French.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that
yeah,
wasn't a hard one to guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's go to Volition. Are they still around?
Volition.
Volition. Are they
Yeah,
still
they are
around?
still around. Yeah,
Yeah.
they are still around.
Because I was thinking, is it like Heyman Studios where they sort of made some games and then Tropico went to another studio? So, oh, by the way, as we're recording this, the new Saints Row has like a couple of trailers.
Yeah,
Not
and all of them CG, by the way. Like, we don't know how the game's gonna look. Like, there's no in-engine trailers of the game. It's just like
there is there is.
you're kind of cutting off.
Mohammad, your net is kind of.
Sorry. Is my voice coming better?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is a trailer. If you want to watch it, you can. Like
like
it came out a couple
in-engine.
weeks ago. Yeah,
Oh,
gameplay
okay,
trailer.
Oh, damn.
okay then.
Well, imagine if we recorded this like a month ago, and by then we only had a couple of trailers.
Yeah. But
um, let's start with 1 and 2.
yeah.
D- Just straight up clones.
Yeah, and like I was reading about the literally off the Wikipedia page, I was reading about like the conception of the first Saints Row game. So like apparently they had like internally in Volition Studios, they were asking the employees to come up with ideas for a new game. Like a team of people came up with the idea of like a gang simulator, and like it was like they put a trailer like featuring the song "Fuck the Police." About like a gang simulator, and it was accepted. And they had to like follow only 2 rules apparently: not to kill the police or children in the game, in order to avoid controversy. And like ultimately, the game shifted to an open world kind of game with still focus on gangs. And apparently, many of the employees were not happy with like being involved with a gang simulator, probably because of like when we're talking about like this is like 2004, 2005. This is exactly the time that GTA San Andreas was being bombarded and like facing a lot of controversy. So I understand why many of the employees were not happy with this decision. Like, I probably wouldn't have been happy with it either. The hot coffee patch. We've talked about these things in length
Yeah,
in
yeah.
our GTA episodes. It's a two-parter, like 3 hours of content on GTA, so check it out. But
Yeah.
yes, I understand why they were not so enthusiastic about being involved in a gang simulator game. It was initially apparently called Bling Bling and set out to
Oh
be
my
released on
fucking
PS.
god.
Yeah, it was set out to be released on PS2, but then they had to like shift to Xbox 360, which made it even more difficult because back then there was no like hardware specifications and documentation for Xbox 360. Just knew that something called that is gonna like be announced. We're talking about like before the announcement of Xbox. So the first one had a bumpy road, let's say, but
And
ultimately, like the rest
it
is history,
shows.
you know.
It shows. It's not a very good game in my opinion. It does have a batshit crazy story, which is kind of the staple of Saints Row. Like if we talked about this in the GTA review too, but I said that I don't think GTA has that much emphasis on the story as it does on the world itself. Uh,
Mhm.
Saints Row is kind of the opposite of that. It like the story is incredibly important in the world. As you move along the story, the world changes actively with that.
Well, I kind of disagree with the fact that like GTA doesn't focus on story as well. And like in the
Uh,
first GTAs, the world actually did like respond to what was happening during the story. But I think the fact that like environmental storytelling is and like the world in Saints Row is not nearly as rich as GTA. I think the story stands out more compared to
yeah,
GTA.
yeah,
You
I
know,
understand. I can understand what you mean. The thing is that at least I remember the story of Saints Row more than I remember the story of, for example, GTA 5.
I
really.
mean, the
Yeah.
story of GTA 5 is quite shit. Unpopular opinion, I guess, but yeah.
Well, I mean, to be honest, the thing is, Saints Row is just so crazy that it honestly becomes memorable. If if GTA is like a very good mafia movie, Saints Row is a B movie, like through and through.
Yeah, that's a perfect like analogy. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And like when we get to the Saints Row 3 and 4, I have a lot more to say. 1 and 2 sort of blend to me because I played them last. Like I played 4, 3, Agents of Mayhem 1, 2. And they sort of felt like prequels to me.
Hmm. Okay, my own history is that I remember I was on a trip to Malaysia. I was like really young.
Oh,
This
nice.
is 2007 probably.
Did you see
I
a lot of hot girls there?
mm, I know, I guess. Anyways, so I
Oh.
purchased Saints Row 1 while on a trip and I was like really excited to get back home and try the game. And I
And
had a 360, came back. You know, it's 2007. GTA 4 has not even been showcased as far as I remember. Like it was the early months of 2007. And the last like open world game I had played was like GTA 4, you know. It's not sorry, GTA San Andreas.
San
And like
Andreas.
you remember the graphics. And then like
Yeah.
I inserted the disc in my 360, got into the game, and like to me back then, even though it was like a I would say cheap knockoff of GTA with a lot of shortcomings, like the fact that like the world was so detailed and like the graphics were so good, it felt like a I think the release date was perfect. Like, I think if Saints Row had been released after GTA 4, it would have like died. You wouldn't have like a continuation of the series because like compared to GTA 4, that game like looks like shit, has a shittier story. Like it just pales in comparison. But like it was released at the perfect date, 2006. A lot of people were like anticipating the successor to GTA San Andreas, but like a lot of hype and demand. And
Yeah.
then this game comes out of nowhere, surprises people, has like really good graphic, good story, relatively good story. Continues on the build up of like gang gameplay that we had seen, and I mean it is different, but like it was GTA that had introduced us to like gang simulation and stuff like that. So I think like back then to me, it was a really pleasant experience, and probably to many other kids, you know, like
Yeah, yeah, I understand. But I think what you said about Saints Row also happens to be for a lot of other GTA clones like Mafia. Like if it hadn't came out when it did, it probably wouldn't be seen.
mm, I can't, when it comes to Mafia, I kind of disagree because like Mafia is a really, really, really good game. Like graphics, story,
The
gameplay,
the
mechanics.
first
Like
one,
yeah.
I completely disagree. I'm with you on the second one, but the first one
No,
is
no, no. When did you play the first one?
uh I fi- t- 2015
Yeah,
or
that's why.
16.
That's why. Like back in the day, Mafia 1 was like
I
miles ahead of GTA in every way except for like the open world elements, and like I don't think that was their like aspiration to be the
okay.
best open world game.
Mafia 1 came out in 2002, right?
I'm not exactly sure about the date, but I just know that like GTA held no candle to it when it came to like graphics and story and like character development.
The
Uh,
mechanics are incredibly frustrating, though.
well, yeah, because it's a almost 20-year-old game, you know.
I don't have that problem with a lot of other almost 20-year-old games, though.
You don't have that problem with like GTA 3.
Not really. Like I don't like GTA 3 for a lot of other reasons. Not the mechanics. I'm okay with them because Mafia 1 has a lot of mandatory shit that I hate.
Mm. Well, that's not a mechanics though. Like I agree. Like a lot of the elements in the game haven't aged like have aged like milk, let's say.
Yeah.
But the recent remake, I think that was like one of the better
I
remakes that
need
we've
to play
seen.
that. I need to play that. Maybe for next season we can talk about Mafia.
Yeah,
But going back to Saints Row, uh, I understand what you mean. I think the craziness, like Saints Row to me, has never been the pinnacle of graphics, at least 3 or 4, but it was
yeah,
always very stylized. Like I really loved the style of from the character creator onward.
yeah. It is a really stylized game, and like
But
I think it's
by the
only the
way,
first Saints Row that like the graphics sets it apart. You know, like because back
yeah,
then it was like probably the best looking sandbox game out there.
yeah, I understand. By the way, I recently, when I was with Mohammad, I got like into the character creator of Cyberpunk 2077, and let's say I was incredibly underwhelmed.
Really?
Yeah, like in my head, I wanted something like okay. Let's talk about Saints Row on like a features level. The character creator in Saints Row, especially Saints Row 3 and 4, is incredible.
It is. It
Uh,
really is.
yeah,
Like
yeah, I agree.
even in the first two, also because I had if I want to talk about my own experience with Saints Row, I can talk quite a lot, but they have a really I have a really soft spot for them in my heart. Like the first one I bought when I had just bought my Xbox 360, and as Amir as I said, we were looking for that open world game that was trying to scratch that itch that San Andreas probably left for you. And then you start with the character creator and you're like, oh my god, this is like an RPG. This is like Oblivion. At that time Oblivion was up. And
Yeah, the
yeah,
pre-Skyrim eras.
Era. Yeah.
and that was really fun. The whole gang warfare system was also fun. I think Saints Row 1 is one of the first games that actually introduced the whole territory thing that a lot of game use right now. Like you fight, you do missions, and then you reclaim it. You claim a territory, and
Yeah,
sometimes you
the
defend it.
Ubisoft method.
I wish Ubisoft had that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's actually in contrast with what Ali said. I think the story was quite light in the first two games, at least in the first game, as far as I remember. In the second
Oh,
game,
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
a story, but yeah, there's a lot to like about. I really liked the again the character customization was really good. There was a lot of fun to be had.
yeah.
Yeah,
So the moral of this story is that shame on you, CD Projekt Red, for not giving us the character creation we deserve.
Yeah,
Learn
like
from
you
Volition.
fail even compared to a 2006 360 game. And you were
And
supposed to be the game that like catapults us to the
yeah,
future of video games.
the weird thing is this is kind of a tangent, but the junk thing in Cyberpunk,
Uh-huh.
Saints Row had that too.
Well,
uh,
I don't think it was as
It wasn't
detailed.
as
granular
detailed.
as it is in Cyberpunk. But yeah, it did have it. Yeah.
Yeah, like you put the slider and your crotch would get bigger or your boobs would get bigger.
Yeah, I remember that.
God, I
Yep.
love that game. But
Actually, didn't have any female main character. Just fun fact for you.
Yeah.
didn't?
Nah, the first game didn't have it, and
Oh yeah, the
uh,
first game didn't. No, I'm remembering again
The
3 and
second
4.
one? Oh, okay.
Yeah, to be honest, I love 3 and 4. I've played them over and over again. I played 1 and 2 like once because it's kind of hard going back from the fourth one when you have like all of those
Yeah.
crazy features.
Yeah, I agree. Also,
But
one thing that I like distinctly remember from the first one, I was like jaw dropping for me back then, was that like when you were listening to the radio on your car and you got out of the car, instead of the music completely stopping, you would like hear it, but just like in an ambient way. Like that was to me back
yeah,
then. Like imagine 2000. I was like, oh my god, this is so realistic. And I also
yeah,
remember the way cars got like damaged in the first two Saints Row games, specifically the first one. Like, doesn't matter how you hit your car against like a obstacle or whatever, the entire car would just like get these wavy things on the car. And like it looked good, but it didn't make any sense. I didn't like that about the first two Saints Row games.
Well, don't worry. By the third one, they just completely
Yeah. Like kind of like
removed it.
made driving cars like almost unnecessary, especially the fourth one. Like in the
Yep,
fourth one, you wouldn't need to drive cars at all.
yep. I ran everywhere.
Yeah.
And speaking of the music, I think the music choice was incredibly good too. Like, I know GTA has its own way of creating music, and so does Mafia, and all of them have like a certain style they go after.
Yeah.
Saints Row feels more like well, to be honest, like my playlist. Like, oh, here is a rap track, and then here is a classic track, and
Yeah.
here is Frank Sinatra, and then here is this 80s disco track. So it was incredibly, uh, how do you say it, jumbled, but in a very good way. Like, I love the music in Saints Row, and I think they just said, oh yeah, this music sounds good, let's just put it in. Who cares if it doesn't fit with our quote unquote theme?
Yeah, I agree. The stations in Saints Row, like they are stand more true to the genre that like they're supposed to represent. Like the only video game that has done justice to metal music, I think, like when it comes to their radios and shit, is Saints Row. Like metal, quote unquote, rock and metal stations, and
Yeah,
well, not rock, but like metal stations are almost non-existent in like GTA and Watch Dogs and like games of the sort. So it's like kind of refreshing to see actual metal music being played in Saints Row. Like you could listen to Opeth and many other like great bands with a lot of growls. And like back then I was a metalhead, and it was like
yeah,
really, really, I don't know, pleasing to me to be able to listen to tracks easily.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. So should we go to the third one now? I have a lot more to talk about in the third one.
Aren't we talking about the first one though? Like, let's talk a bit about the second one.
Oh, I thought we
Yeah.
mushed them together into
No,
like one
I haven't
super
mushed them.
entity.
Okay, there's little that I want to talk about when it comes to Saints Row 2. I think the fact that Saints Row 2 came out after GTA 4 was like the reason it was such a bad game, in my opinion. Not a bad game, but like a game that like it
Underwhelming.
obviously expanded upon the base that was built. Like the gang simulation was far better than the first. Like it was
It was a
the
sequel, like in the traditional sense of being a sequel. Like it was
yeah
better,
yeah yeah
but not
yeah
exactly the greatest thing in the world.
yeah
Like
exactly.
The
you
problem
had
is they took it too seriously.
No, I don't think they took it too seriously. I think it was the
I
culmination of everything the first one could have been, like masterfully done. Like it,
no,
the gang rivalry and all that was like really, really good. It's just that I think by the time that came out, that type of open world GTA esque game was falling out of favor. You know what I mean? Like,
I understand. I mean, in terms of like by the I remember distinctly going from the third one, like Saints Row 3 to Saints Row 2. I was shocked at how, to be honest, serious everything seemed. Like, oh, this is no, this is actually a very important story, and this world is like a real world, and these
yeah,
gangs are like real. And I'm like, wait. In the next one, we have Burt Reynolds as a fucking mayor. How is this in the same fucking universe?
yeah. I mean, like Saints Row the Third is almost like a reboot of the game. Like the first two are completely different games. I think that was like a genius move. The move that
Yeah,
like made this series what it is and like kept this series alive. Like if the third one had been the same as like the first two, Saints Row would have been like a very forgettable, short-lived series. And the biggest problem I remember about Saints Row 2 was that it ran like shit on PC. If you remember at the first of the game,
uh,
you're in a prison, you create your character, and then you're like breaking out of the prison. And there's specifically a part that you're like on a boat using a machine gun. And like my frame rate would drop to like 10 in that part of the game. And that was like a thing. Like the PC version of it was plagued with a lot of bugs and like performance issues. The console versions were better, but they also like the problem the game had was universal. Like they had asked the engine for more than it could deliver, I think, and it was like just not. I don't know. It wasn't a smooth game. I think that was like one of
yeah.
the biggest problems of the game.
And as we
And
know, the gaming
mm,
industry learned its lesson, and we never had a broken game on release
ever again.
ever
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Ever again.
Not talking about you, CD Project Red.
Yeah.
You're shitting on my boys too much, gentlemen. I'm gonna have to
Dude,
punch
okay,
severely.
okay. This is an anecdote about the game. Like, I was with Mohammad, and Mohammad was trying to show me something, remember?
I admit that I'm not gonna even talk about it. Think about it.
Well, I am. He was trying to show me something in the game, and the game just refused to let us.
Of course it did. And which patch of the game is it now? Like it's been almost 2 years. They've released a few big patches, and
Dude,
the
it's
fact that
1 year.
okay, 1 year, and like they have released, I think 3 or 4 big patches. The fact that the game is still broken after 4 patches, that's just like. I think the game is gonna become playable after like 2 more years, probably.
I mean, it was. Let's not talk about Cyberpunk because
Yeah, you're obviously like you have a thing for the game.
I mean, I
Well,
like the game. That's for sure.
Yeah.
uh,
But anyways, let's
sure.
jump to Saints Row the Third, where all the
Yes,
brouhaha and all the
yes. The reason we wanted to,
buzz is about.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to make this episode was Saints Row the Third and Saints Row 4, because these two games are like unlike anything I've played. I've played open world games. I've played comedy games. I never played a game that is so much the essence of the cinema that I like, which is, as we discussed, B movies, to
Yeah.
this extent. Like,
Yeah.
it's when you have like, this is Roger Corman, the video game. This is incredible. Like, I can't express how much I loved playing Saints Row the Third and Saints Row 4.
Saints Row the Third, I think, is like truly just about having fun. It's going as crazy as you can with a video game, and not
Yeah.
just the mechanics of the game, the story, the characters, the music, the atmosphere of the game. Everything in this game is supposed to be as crazy as it can get. And the weapons, let's start with the weapons. Like the weapons in this game, oh my god. Like I think the only other studio that could like compete with the insanity of Saints Row weapons is Insomniac Games with their crazy weapons in Ratchet and Clank, and subsequently
Do they have a giant pink dildo?
no, I don't think they're like
Okay,
no, they're
they,
not.
they
They're not
cannot
vulgar.
compete. They
Yeah.
cannot compete
No, but
because
seriously, the weapons in Sunset Overdrive, which is probably my most favorite game of the last generation, or at least I think the most underappreciated and underrated game of the past generation. A lot of people didn't get to play it. I think we should have an episode on it, anyways. But yeah, I
Okay.
think like that game also has extremely insane weaponry and like weapons, and also extremely insane story and world. Oh my god! I think like the only thing that made me feel as good as Saints Row the Third had when it came out was playing Sunset Overdrive.
is it exclusive to consoles?
No, you can get it on your PC.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's good. So yeah, Saints Row the Third was, for me, it's an incredible experience. Like, as I said, the mayor of the town is Burt Reynolds. So at that point, you know what you're getting into. And it has one of the greatest musical scenes, which is Holding Out for a Hero,
Yeah.
which is a truly epic scene, but in a B movie way.
Yeah. And let's talk about the first mission. Like the game, the way this game starts. Like, oh my god, fantastic first mission. One of the best first missions in an open world video game, in my opinion. Like,
Yep.
it's
The
basically a heist. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great, and I love the fact that even in terms of storytelling, it plays with your expectation. Like the main villain of the game dies in the like second mission.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like, oh my god. I think like even the creators of the game had a lot of fun, like
Yeah.
implementing. I'm sure the poor like programmers that had to like crunch didn't have fun, but like the think tank, the designers, the people that like
Yeah.
came up with ideas had a lot of fun, you know?
Yeah. Who do you,
And I
who
think
do you
it's
think
in
had to like draw and animate the purple dildo?
I think they weren't that happy with it with the game. Also, this game
Can it be motion capture?
it could be, yeah, it
I mean,
could
it's
actually be
easier,
motion.
right?
Not necessarily because like dildo physics are some of those physics that aren't that hard to like.
Oh,
You
spoken like a
can
true professional.
kind of. No, I'm not a professional. I might be wrong, but like as far as I understand, I don't think it's that hard. Like,
The moral of the story is you are very professional with dildos. Anyways, so
yeah, sure.
so again, the character creator amazing. Is this the? I don't remember. I know fourth had like metal skin, and I know two didn't have. Did the Saints of the Third have metal skin too?
I don't remember, to be fair. Like I haven't replayed it recently.
Oh, when we played it like last year around the same time.
Oh
And
no, I think for me it's like 6 years ago.
oh no,
Yeah.
it's the game holds up in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, it does. I agree.
Which
Like
is which is I know Mohammad said don't talk about it, but which is more than I can say for Cyberpunk 2077. Which
yeah, I'm sure that people are not gonna be like talking about that game
yeah,
fondly at least 10 years after its release. You know?
yeah. Mohammad,
I'm not
are
gonna.
you?
No,
Uh,
no
You're not gonna
comment.
comment on this.
Not even a little bit.
okay. So
Oh,
yes.
we should also talk about the ability to become completely naked
Oh
starting
yeah,
Saints Row the Third. Like you can
yeah.
make your character like Adam naked, and the only thing the game does is like checkerboards it.
The
So-
penis area, not the rest.
yeah.
Or
So
the boobage area if you're a
yeah,
lady.
so you could have a lot of fun just roaming the streets like a crazy person,
The best
completely
part
naked.
of it, the best part of this game that I loved is the fact that no matter how stupid you can make your character look, or if you go naked, it will also be the same in all of the fucking cutscenes.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Like,
like you can also change your voice and accent. Oh my god, I had
yeah,
given my character a
the
really thick,
Australian.
a really thick Australian accent, and every time this character talked, I would just laugh my ass off. Like that was really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really good.
There's actually a joke I remember distinctly in the fourth Saints of 4, which is you had 3 male voices and 3 female voices, and then there was a voice simply said Nolan North.
That was a
Yeah.
VXP voice, you know. Since
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
superstar, and I mean he still is, but you know,
Yeah.
actor.
Is he Nathan? He's Nathan Drake, right?
Yep, he was.
I think yeah.
Drake. He was Desmond in Assassin's Creed, and a bunch of
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
characters.
I mean,
He's a celebrity voice actor, I would say.
yeah. And that brings me to my next point, actually. Saints of 3, Saints of the Third, and Saints of 4 become incredibly meta as well. Like they,
Oh
at some
yeah.
point, began to mess with the gaming industry as a whole. Like,
Yeah.
I talk about this more when we get to Saints Row 4 because that has the more obvious ones. But Saints Row
Yeah.
3 has its own fair share of like playing with other familiar games. Like, oh, you know this mechanic from all of these famous games? We're gonna flip it on its side, or we're gonna parody it, or we're gonna make fun of it. It's a fun game, and it's incredibly funny too. By the way, like I laughed my ass off.
Yeah, yeah. It's not easy for a video game to make you laugh, like
Yeah.
seriously, but this game does it perfectly. Like a lot of funny dialogue, a lot of funny situations. Remember the
I'm a-
mission that
Yeah.
you like get into a computer and get turned into a toilet?
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
God.
one of the villains.
Yeah,
And yeah, and again, I'm sorry, Mohammad. I know I'm such an asshole, but sometimes game can make you laugh unintentionally, like Cyberpunk 2077.
yeah, because that game tries to be so edgy and like a social commentary type of like video game. It tries to be the Fight Club of video games.
No. You don't get it, dude. When me and Mohammad were playing it, the guns didn't load.
No, I know that like you're talking about
Oh,
bugs. I'm saying that like the game's intention is to be edgy.
oh
You
yeah.
know?
Well, to be honest, that's like the whole idea behind cyberpunk as a genre. Like it's supposed to be as edgy as it can be, and it takes a true artist. Like, oh my god, am I gonna say Ridley Scott is a true artist?
You were just about to say that. Yes, Ridley Scott is the
Yeah.
greatest director that has ever lived. Not
Ah,
Sergio Leone, not Tim Burton, not I don't know.
Not
fuck
Stanley
off.
Kubrick. Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, Ridley Scott did make the only good cyberpunk story.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
And he
really?
did make one of the most famous TV ads of all time, 1984 Mac ad.
Seriously?
Yeah, he was the one that made that ad.
Holy shit, that explains so much.
Wait,
Uh,
was it Tony, like his brother? I don't know.
no, it's Ridley.
God damn.
This
Well,
is back when he was doing good job. Like, yeah, he definitely
I
turned it.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know why we are like this, it's because there is a new Ridley Scott movie coming out called House of Gucci as we are recording this, and
You're really hyped about it.
it has Jeremy Irons in it for like probably 2 seconds, but
Mhm.
it's kind of funny. Like they had like 3 or 4 trailers so far, and in all of them, Jeremy Irons is in the same fucking location. So I'm pretty sure he's in one scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, back to Saints Row the Third, and the as we said, the story is incredibly funny and just over the top. The music is great, and like it's just fun to be in. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
at some point I decided to do a lot of the side missions or a lot of the collectible shit just because I loved being in that world and just running and punching people in the street and
Yeah.
getting a tank and all of that shit.
Also, like we have to talk about the melee capabilities of the game because I think few games are like as satisfactory when it comes to like
Yeah,
basically punching and kicking people to death. Like sometimes and it's really funny the way you can do it. Like you can perform like WWE
yeah.
finishers on people. You can like double kick them in the head. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is this weird one when you punch them in the nut, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but it also works for the girls.
Well,
Like,
Ali, I hate to break it to you, but like the female genitalia is also sensitive. Like probably not as painful as balls, but it is really painful given the fact that it houses the highest number of nerves.
Well, I mean, it's what I'm saying is men have it harder than
Yeah, but like it is as painful. Like if you kick a woman in the nuts, well, not in the
I
nuts,
know
in the V area, yeah.
in the vagina.
The vagina, yeah, it's gonna be extremely painful.
I love the fact that you have no problem calling people retard, but when it
Yeah.
comes to discussing female anatomy, it becomes the V area.
Well, okay, retard. Like you know how I use this word, but like, okay, they're pussy. Is it better? Like,
Nope.
The terminology is your problem right now.
Yeah. At least tone policing me right now.
Yeah. Say vagina.
I did say
Oh,
vagina.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now say penis.
Pussy, cunt, penis, dick, cock. Are we done?
Yeah. Great.
Is this a kid-friendly show now?
I mean, were we ever kid friendly? Like, if you're a very messed up kid, maybe, but
Maybe this is a Christian channel. I don't know. Christian podcast. I mean,
oh yeah. Let's talk about Jesus's cunt. And okay, going back to say, I mean, this is Saints Row, by the way. Like, I think what we are doing is not far off from an actual Saints Row conversation.
Yeah, for real. But
Yeah.
any other points that we have to make about the third installation in the game? Oh, I just remembered something. It's also worth noting that Saints Row, and it's been like confirmed by the creators, takes place in the same universe as Red Faction. So it's kind of like a metaverse thing. Yeah, like in Saints Row, we are the ancestors of those who are in Red Faction, basically.
Nice. Well, it explains why the world is fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
And like,
can-
spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
for Saints Row or for Red Faction?
No, for Saints Row the Third, we know how it ends. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but in Saints Row Saints Row 4, they completely retconned that ending.
Yeah.
And I'm just imagining, like, if we looked at our ancestors the same way as Saints Row, like, yeah, I remember 500 years ago, like, Agha Muhammad Khan Qajar ran around naked, hitting people with a purple dildo.
Yeah. As he should have. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it would be better because, he didn't have one himself.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, we're talking about a eunuch or like a castrated person that was our king. That's like so sad to have a castrated king. Castrated king. That's a good band name.
That's actually a good band name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should make a band.
That's a good.
Yeah. And our first single will be Jesus' Cunt.
Yeah. I'm sure this band is not going to be controversial in any way.
Yep. I mean, it's okay. I was gonna go on a tangent about how rap music about Jesus for some reason is controversial. Pro Jesus rap music, but anyways.
Pro Jesus? Are you like treating Jesus the same way people are like treating abortion? Pro abortion? Pro Jesus?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, imagine the world would have been much different if Mary had just taken that fucking abortion.
You just pissed off probably like billions of people right now. Thank you for that. Like,
well, 1 billion, right? How many Catholics are there?
You think only Catholics care about like the Holy Mary?
Okay, how many Christians are there?
A lot of them. I don't know, like probably 3 billion or something.
Well, I mean, statistically, there is 4 billion people left. Like, oh wait,
Number
how
of
many French people are there?
I think okay, it's 2.3 billion people, 2.3 billion
Christians?
Christians. Ooh,
Ah, fuck.
1.9 billion Muslims. What the fuck?
Yeah,
That's a lot. It used
yeah.
to be 1.5.
We need to lessen that number, if I'm honest. It's so
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Number.
let's
Just
go back to
quick
Saints
note,
Row 4.
quick note about Saints Row 3. This is
Oh,
actually the game I played the least out of all of the games because
well, shame on you.
yeah, thanks for that. The year that it came was the same year that better games like Skyrim and Dark Souls and Deus Ex and a shit ton of other games came out. And by better, I mean I'm just joking, but
Yeah, it was a busy year for gamers. Yeah.
2011.
I really do hope to get back to it someday. But I highly doubt it will be in the near future, if I'm honest.
Come
Anyway,
on, finish it. It's like you can finish it in 2 days. I did.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would like to, but I don't know, lazy, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, I mean, it's a game that I think is worth it. Like, stop playing Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah. For real though, like I would play Saints Row the Third a million times over that. Oh shit! I also remembered like it's mostly in Saints Row 4 though. Like we should move on to Saints Row 4, but like all the other video game parodies that you have, I just
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
the Metal Gear one.
yeah. Yeah,
Buzz,
that's Saints
Buzz,
Row 4.
Buzz.
Saints Row
Yeah.
4 has one of the funniest Mass Effect parodies of all time,
Oh yeah.
which is you going up to your crew and saying them one of the is it Lindsay? Hey Lindsay, you wanna fuck? And
Yeah.
yeah,
And imagine like saying that with the thick, like Australian accent. It was like,
yeah.
Lindsay, you wanna fuck? My God.
Lindsay, you wanna fuck? And I love that game. I love
Yeah.
Saints of
And like
Saints
you
of
could
4.
romance everyone, by the way, in your like spaceship. Like I romanced everyone in that game.
Yeah, and it's great. I love it. The fact of the matter. Okay, let's go to Saints of 4. Saints of 4 was my first Saints of game, and I had no idea what I was getting into.
Wow.
Like,
That must have been really good.
yeah, like imagine at that point I had just finished Bioshock Infinite, and I was like, oh yeah, philosophical games about will and I don't know multiple universes and all of that shit. Yeah, so good. Okay, this game is called Saints Row 4. Let's see what it is about. And but it wasn't like Bioshock.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is about like parallel worlds, by the way, and because you're
Yeah,
spoiler alert. Okay, if you haven't finished Saints Row the third and the fourth one, skip for like 2 minutes or a minute because I'm going to spoil something. In Saints Row the third, Earth basically explodes, and
yeah,
in Saints Row the fourth, you are in a simulation on a spaceship, and
yep.
like literally the entire game. It's almost like Assassin's Creed, like you're in the Animus, like you're in a
You've been abducted by aliens.
yeah,
I
which
love.
are the villains of the game.
Yeah, and there is like this alien guy who is very much into Shakespeare. And
Yeah.
And like the beginning of the game is you become president of the United States.
Oh my god, the choices that you could have, the
Yeah,
choices.
it's good. But your vice president is I must have said Keith Richards. It's Keith David, the actor
Yeah,
Keith David. Yeah, who, for those of you who don't know, is a great voice actor and just a generally great actor. He was in They Live, John Carpenter's They Live, and they actually make a reference to that in Saints Row 4. But he comes and says, "Do you want to be the president who saves, who uh, cures
Cures
cancer
cancer or like
or ends
uh,
child hunger?"
yeah,
And it's pointless because like 10 seconds later you get attacked by aliens, but I love that. And
yeah.
there is like this press guy who comes to you and asks you very hard questions, and you have two choices: hit him in the head, hit him in the nuts. And
which one did
Oh
I,
you
god.
choose?
I mean, to be honest, I think this is what Trump thought presidency was going to be like, but
He kind of acted out on it as well.
yeah, but well, anyways, it's a Saints of 4. At some point, the game, basically, the object of the game, I think, Saints of 4, is to break itself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Like
at some point, as I said, you don't even need to ride any cars. You will fly over the city.
it's literally Matrix, the video game, and you're the one that hacks like the simulation. You start abusing the engine
Yeah.
of the game almost like you start flying, you start like jumping crazy. Like before that, I remember Prototype was one of the games that like made you feel like really OP and like
Yeah.
you could basically do anything in that game. But this game like takes it to 11. Like you can do literally anything in this game.
Yep.
And I think that like
Including,
that's what makes it so fun. Yeah.
yeah, fuck everyone, as you said. You
Yeah.
can literally do anything you want.
Yeah. And like there are moments that like there's a glitch in the game. Like those are also funny.
Oh
And
yeah, and the game actually have fun with its engine, like the big head mode. No, no, not the big head mode. The big head gun.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the weapons also get like tenfold crazy, even like
Yeah,
compared to the third one. Like the guns you get to have, and like there's a gun that like plays dubstep music and kills people
yeah,
in this game.
dubstep
Yeah,
gun. Yeah, it's great. It's like a amazing time capsule of what gaming was like when it came out.
yeah. And also this game, you're so powerful. I remember like killing most of my enemies not with weapons but like melee attacks because it was funnier.
Yeah,
Like I would just
yeah,
kick and punch them. Yeah, and also there's a Rick and Morty esque like feel to the story in that like you actually like get out of the simulation and realize that you got out of the simulation inside the simulation.
yeah, yeah. I There is a scene which I believe WandaVision probably stole, which is when you're first abducted, you're put into a simulation, which is a 1950s sitcom.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Shit, that was
Oh,
a
yeah.
yeah,
Again, it's a very funny game. And they bring back a lot of the dead characters from Saints Row 3 and Saints Row 2.
yeah, yeah. Because like you're dead, so
Yeah. Like Johnny Gat, the
yeah.
titular Gat out of hell.
And
Yeah,
that's
we also
the
need to talk about the DLC of Saints Row 4, Get Out of Hell.
Mohammad, what did you say?
I was just saying, and that's the segue to Get Out of Hell,
Oh,
the DLC
Gat.
for
Saints
what?
Row
Which
4.
was also released as a standalone DLC. Like I remember
Yeah.
like getting the Get Out of Hell separate video game for my 360 because again, we didn't have access to like uh Xbox Game Store, so we had to like get
Bye.
bootleg. Yeah, yeah, bootleg versions of the game. Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing: the history with Saints Row and DLCs is really funny because Saints Row 4 started as a DLC for Saints Row
Oh,
3
yeah,
and then
yeah.
expanded into its own game. Like Cat Out of Hell also started as a DLC, and
Yeah, it
again,
became a
I
standalone DLC
yeah,
ultimately.
I'm.
yeah.
I imagine they have plans to do the same thing with New Game 2. I don't know though. Not sure about
No, I
that.
don't think so. No, because there's been a like huge gap between the two. Like, how many years has it been? Like 7 years,
Uh,
8 years.
Yeah, it's been a
when
while.
did Agents of Mayhem come out exactly?
Agents of Mayhem came out in 2017, and I think
Um,
that's one of the reasons I didn't know about it, and the fact that it wasn't named Saints Row.
yeah. But yeah, talking about Get Out of Hell, I don't think has any more mechanics. It's just a very funny story.
Yeah, like,
Uh,
and it takes place in hell.
Hell, yeah, and William
Yeah.
Shakespeare is in Hell. If you didn't know,
Yeah, yeah. And there's like Get Out of Hell, the main storyline takes you like probably 7 hours or 6 hours. But if you want to like 100% the game, there's a shitload of like
yeah,
uh optional quests,
companion missions,
missions.
all of that shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot
Which
of collectibles.
yeah, which is true for the main Saints Row games too. Like Saints Row 4, if you just do the main missions, you can do it in a day, but uh, I usually do every companion mission, every weapon mission, every side mission. So it took me 3-4 days.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like, to be fair, I think it's fun doing those optional
Oh yeah,
missions in
yeah. I wanted to do
Saints Row.
that.
Yeah, like, and I
Like,
could say the same about Sunset Overdrive. Like, Sunset Overdrive is also one of the few games that like I collected every collectible and did every mission possible just because it's just so fun to roam in that
mhm.
world.
The only
Same
other
as Saints
game I
Row.
wanted to do all of the collectibles in was Mafia 2, but that's because the collectibles were vintage
Playboy
Playboys.
magazine. Yeah.
Yeah. I love
You-
I love the company that I keep in my friends that I just need to say why I just don't need to say why. And they will go,
Yeah.
yeah, just porn, you
Yeah.
pervert.
Splatterhouse. I don't know if you've played that game. That also had like a similar thing. The
Es-
Xbox 360 remake, because it's a really
Can
old game. You could
can
like
you
it's Splatterhouse. S P
yeah.
A S P
I'm
L
with
A
you.
T T E R house. Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
it's a series.
yeah, yeah, but it was remade. Like, it was a reboot on 360, which is not a good
Ah,
reboot. But you could collect like nude magazines, and like the entire incentive for me to play that game was to like get
nice.
those magazines. Yeah.
Nice. I love we live in the world where I can literally type in any fetish and there'll be 1,000 videos, but yet we still look for porn
It's
in our
just like
video game.
earning them in like video
Yeah,
games like gives you more uh, satisfaction, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does.
It's the same with watching nudity in movies, I think. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, porn is there, but when you get to see like a good movie that there's a nude scene in it, you're like, ooh, I didn't expect that.
Nobody expects the Spanish nudity. Haha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is, as we know, Penelope Cruz. But
That was honestly a good follow up to the to my
thank you,
lame joke. Yeah.
thank you. I'm the joke saver. Anyway,
Yeah. Joke saver.
I am joke Jesus, savior of
Yeah.
jokes.
You redeemed my joke.
Yeah,
You cleared
I
me of an
died for
original
you.
sin. You died for my joke.
Yeah. Anyways, Get Out of Hell, I really don't have much else to talk about. Again, it's a good standalone, but it's it's so
It's just like a new map, new enemies,
yeah.
new missions, and like it's short. But I don't know, like as a standalone game, not a good thing. But as a DLC, I think it's a decent DLC.
Yeah. If only Bethesda would make us these DLCs instead of the horse armor. Which one of the sort of starting points for the problem we have nowadays with DLCs and shit is Bethesda.
Yeah, yeah.
Horse armor.
I mean, yeah, horse armor. But
Also, I just recently, like a few hours ago, I learned that Bethesda is the name of a real location in America.
oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Bethesda,
But
Maryland.
yep. But I mean, to be honest, it just works. Anyways,
Yeah.
going to Agents of Mayhem.
This one I just I learned about less than 2 hours ago, so I have nothing to say, but I am looking forward to playing it, and I don't care how bad you're making it sound like. I think it's gonna be decent.
I do hope you enjoy it because I don't know. So the deal with the thing is, in normal Saints Row games, you play as one character that you create. In Mayhem, you play as 3 characters that are like classes in, I don't know, Overwatch and whatnot. They have special abilities and weapons and whatnot. And well, you see,
They are bland
here's
characters.
this really strange part. There is no co-op in the game. Like,
Yeah.
you do have 3 characters, but you don't. I don't know. You can't play co-op. Like, you control 3 of them one at a time. You just go on and shoot people. Like, there are some really odd design choices, I think, that really hurts the game in a way that it didn't in the previous games. Like, co-op was always one of the features in the first couple of games that people really liked,
Yeah.
and this didn't have any. And the whole class system didn't work. The level design was just bland. Like, they didn't improve on anything.
Yeah.
It was just. Again, I hope you enjoy it, but I highly doubt you will.
How's the story? Like, is the story
Oh
any good?
no.
I think the
It's
best
not
thing
funny
about
either.
the game is the setting. It's in Seoul, South Korea. It's at least somewhere new compared to other games, I guess. But besides that, nah, the story is not
Oh, no
particularly.
funny characters, no funny dialogue, not a
A lot of
cheeky story.
cringe. A lot of cringy characters, like characters that try to be funny, but it has the worst sin of a Saints Row game, which is it's mostly boring.
Oh, okay then. How about weapons and like the mechanics, the gameplay? Is it fun?
It's a tame version of Saints Row 4, as far as I remember. Like, there are
In
some
every
crazy
way, it's a downgrade. Oh,
again, it's fine, I guess. Like, if you miss the style of game Saints Row had, playing for a couple hours might give you some nostalgia or something. But I don't know, I didn't like it. I played for like 10, 15 hours and then I uninstalled it. I just wasn't interested.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think that I kind of disagree with you. I think if you're a fan of Saints Row, Agents of Mayhem will probably more than anything piss you off because it's not you're used to the craziness, but Agents of Mayhem is like incredibly normal and bland and like, what are we even doing here? Are we back to copying GTA again?
interesting. How about the graphics? Are there any noticeable improvements in the graphics of the game?
Oh, it's not like the engine is clearly has really aged, and sound design is whatever, I guess. The physics are bad, like really bad. I remember car physics were atrocious. At least,
Damn.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
I guess
in Saints Row 4, it works because the game plays off of that. Agents of Mayhem doesn't play off of the engine, like how bad the engine
Brokenness.
is. Yeah.
Okay. And it's also 2017, not 2000 like 12 or 13, was it?
yeah, it's a PS4 game, but in all honesty, it might as well be a PS3 game in many
Yeah.
aspects.
Okay then. Yeah, that makes a lot of
It
sense.
kind of reminds you of Cyberpunk 20.
No
That
comment,
Okay.
I guess, from
low
Mohammad.
blow. That was a low blow. I'm not even gonna bother
Yeah.
answering.
Yeah, no, I'm being an asshole at this point. So
That's-
with Agents of Mayhem, to be honest, I don't have much else to say. It's just a game that I think the fact that
Shouldn't exist.
no, it the fact is nobody will remember of its existence if it wasn't
I
part
didn't
of the
even know it exists.
yeah. If it wasn't part of the Saints Row universe, it would have been forgotten by now, like completely.
Yeah. Okay, then
What are
let's
the
talk about the newly announced Saints Row reboot game.
yeah?
You know that
Well,
that I said about Agents of Mayhem?
oh yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna repeat them here too.
Hmm.
Because
come
in all
on,
honesty, like yeah, you guys didn't see the trailer. I watched it like a couple of hours ago before we started recording. But like it isn't looking good if I'm honest with you. Like the
yeah,
visuals or whatever. I wasn't I'm not one of those guys that tries to shit on something just because other people shit on it too. As you can see, I am trying to defend Cyberpunk as much as I
yeah,
can.
and
To
failing.
yeah, miserably.
Yeah,
But it I don't know, man. Maybe the reboot wasn't exactly the best idea they had. To be honest, I don't know what idea they could have gone with and would have had a good result, especially after the shit show. And by shit show, I mean a good way. That four was, with all this craziness and all that fun stuff that the game had.
yeah.
Um,
Maybe they've like got to such a climax that like it's downhill. Like anyways, no matter what you do, like you can't top Saints Row 3 and 4.
I have ideas like go completely 180 on it, like make it a Dark Souls esque game.
God damn. I think like what they could have done was to like make it as cheeky and like as meta and as satiric and parodic as the
But they
fourth
did
one,
that.
but with the new trend.
Yeah.
No, but with the new trends in video games, like there have been a lot of video games since
Oh,
2013.
loot
You could
boxes,
like
like yeah,
loot boxes, roguelike games, Souls
battle royale.
games, battle royales. Yeah. Like they could have
what
turned it into the Monty Python of video games.
Yeah.
Pardon me. I was just trying to ask, what do you think of the art style? Because that was one of the things that people really complained after that initial trailer. Like I was okay with it. Uh, I don't think it's actually the main part of the problem. What do you guys think?
I to be honest, I'm with you. I I know it doesn't look like Saints Row to me, but I don't really care. I'm more mad at them for the choice of music than I am for the choice of art.
Art style to me also seems okay. And the location was in like Mexico, right? The location of the
It's
game.
in a Vegas type place, like it's a desert town. There's a
Yeah.
lot of desert. It's quite new. I like it. Like it isn't New York like New York that the other games had. Really inspired.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I guess they can do some interesting stuff with the new setting they have. I don't know. Really
Just
depends on.
know that the characters, it already had a diverse cast, like both racial and sexual.
Yeah.
And like they have actually kind of like made it worse, and they've turned them into kids. The characters don't seem to be even remotely as fun as like a character like Johnny Gat could be, or like the boss could be. I think
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem of the game is that like it looks bland. It looks afraid of the new trends in media.
It looks
It's
tame.
trying to, yeah. I think it's just trying to be uncontroversial. It's trying to be the safest bit possible, and I think that's like not a good thing. I hope that the creators like realize and like pick up the reaction to their game and like make it crazy again if they have like enough time and money to do that. Otherwise, it's gonna be a disaster by the looks of it.
Considering the release date is like just 2-3 months away, I don't think they're going to change much. If I'm honest with
Yeah.
you.
Well, I mean, at worst, it'll be another Agents of Mayhem. It will come, it will go. Nobody will remember it.
But I'm gonna have to look at the trailers to like see how bad it is, because
not
like I haven't watched the in-game trailers. I've only watched the CG trailer.
It's not bad. It's just bland. Like it's same old, nothing new. There
Yeah.
are some stuff that kind of feel like they're new, but honestly, like Just Cause
Is the
has
engine at least any better?
it looks alright. Like nothing particularly eye grabbing, I guess. It looks like a
Hmm.
PS4 game, you know.
Hmm. PS4 game in 2022. That's not a good thing.
I guess not. I mean, people do complain about Elden Ring's graphics, so what do I know?
Elden Rings is like a Breath of the Wild-esque game by the looks of it, so that has more to do with art, I would say. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. I just want to point it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. But
Well, we're nearing 2 hour mark, I guess.
Oh, yeah. But we can watch the trailer and then talk about it in the season wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there anything about Saints Row that we haven't mentioned that you want to mention?
No, I just want to say that I think Saints Row 3 and 4 are some of the most fun and entertaining, and like they to me are the nectar, the essence of what video games should be and can be. And well, not should be, but like can be. Like because I just what makes video games such a sacred thing to me is the fact that like I can do everything I want to do that I wouldn't be able to do in the real world. Like I like and I love like video games like Red Dead Redemption and The Last of Us, but they're just not replayable for me. Maybe at most 2 times. I don't.
But-
If I was to like experience things, I would have like been a cinephile. But I don't like movies that much, exactly because of what I said. So when video games are crazy, when video games like let me do whatever I want, when video games are like blown out of proportion, that's when I love them, and that's why Saints Row the Third, Saints Row 4, Sunset Overdrive, GTA, like the games like these are always going to be like at the top of my list when it comes to not just video games but entertainment in general.
Nice. How about you, Mohammad?
Remaster the first two games. Seriously, I like them. I don't know why you sat on them for so long, but I think they're worthwhile experiences. Like for $10-20 if you can have GTA Trilogy remastered. I think they're worth it. Like again, they're fun. You can have some good time with them.
I'm with you. Like with the new one, let's do a remaster of the old ones.
Oh,
And I'm
it depends on like a company making as much money as Rockstar is. They just recently, like it was a few days ago that they released the Trilogy Definitive Edition. It's like riddled with bugs, and people are rightfully pissed off. And like it's been absent from the PC game, like Rockstar Game Store for like 2 days now, because they hadn't patched out many of the things that they should have. The hot coffee patch is still there. There's unlicensed music, and they have used modders mods on the game without like their knowledge. It's just a shit show, and we're talking about Rockstar, let alone like a small studio like Volition.
can I say, as a Bethesda fan, seeing all of these other companies fuck up is giving me a great sense of Schadenfreude. Like, yeah, it's just not my sweet thought. Everybody else is fucking up too.
Yeah, imagine how bad that other game. What is the name of Bethesda's new game? Imagine how
Oh
bad
yeah,
that.
Starfield. Starfield.
Yeah, imagine how bad that could turn out.
Yeah, yeah. Goddamn. Anyways, yeah. So if there's that, I guess we'll see you on our next episode. We'll probably it'll be our season wrap up. We're gonna talk about everything. If there's something you want us to talk about, do send us an email or leave us a comment or anything that you think we should talk about. And
you know how to access
yeah,
us. Yeah.
Yep.
So with that, if unless we die or don't feel like it, we're gonna see you next
Yep.
time. Hopefully
Yep.
without the hiatus.
Yeah.
To the podcast. We want to thank you for listening to a shitty podcast. Yeah, it's another shitty podcast. We are deeply happy inside that you don't have anything better to do. Don't waste your time here with us. YASP. Yet another shitty podcast. Another shitty podcast.